So let's go over the big stories for tonight. Canadians have $90 billion in excess cash as government doubles income loss. That's not real. Let's look. Let me just look at the graph on this. We're in so much trouble here in Canada. Canadian household savings rate. Wow. Canada's household saving rate hits 28%. Combine the higher income delivery with the restricted spending and mortgage deferrals, and you get a lot of cash. Prior to the pandemic, the savings rate had reached 3.6%. Already a worrying climb. During the pandemic, it escalated as high as 28.2% in June. In periods of recession, saving rates tend to jump as people worry. So there it is. There's the Canadian savings rate. Wow. So people are putting money away for a rainy day. I don't blame them, man. Canadian real estate sales slow for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic. Well, no one could afford to get into any. No one could afford to get into the most basic style house, right? And then we have Irish house prices still on the rise. So this was sent to me from somebody in the Chamber of Commerce in Dublin, Ireland, basically telling me, Mike, it's still going on here. House prices hit new record as London homes sell for twice the UK average. And house prices set to grow 9% in Sydney. So there it is there, 9% in 2021. Again, with the lack of inventory on the market, you will see price hikes. And Sydney, Australia, house prices rise as units fall. We're seeing this gap between houses and condos because that's what's just going to happen. People can't get off their condo tree or in the condos or their first investments. They can't sell them to get into the detached sector because nobody's jumping on a condo right now. And close that. Auckland median home price tops $1 million as house prices accelerated in 20%. Okay, we're going to get Ralphe on because he says he has some important news on what's happening in New Zealand in the housing sector there. Hello, Ralphe, you there?
How you scheming?
Oh, you're pretty staticky. What's wrong with your audio?
Is it better now?
It's okay. It's okay. It just sound pretty like you know when you listen to like it doesn't matter. Talk. Let me hear.
Cool, man. New Zealand's in the front line at the moment, so I might have to save it for Mike in the night. But basically, mandatory masks this afternoon, 4K fine or 6 months in jail.
Okay,
but at least
stop.
At least Jacinda won an award from the Harvard University and won $210,000 as an award, not a bribe.
Okay, let's just backtrack this one really quick here. Let's just backtrack this real quick. You're gonna re-say what you just told us in English now, so we could. Okay, say it again. 6 months in jail. So start from the beginning. Go ahead, nice and slow.
If you go to stuff.co.nz, as of 1 p.m. this afternoon, it is now mandatory to wear masks in all public transport, train, and also air if you're flying. If you do not wear a mask, you will get a maximum $4,000 fine, New Zealand dollars, or 6 months in jail. Ding, 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 ding.
6 months in jail in New Zealand sounds like a holiday to me.
Well, sounds like a free lottery ticket to me. I mean, jail sounds pretty good.
If you told me 6 months in a gulag in Russia, then I'd be scared. Or 6 months in a high security Mexico City prison, then I'd be scared. But 6 months in a New Zealand prison kind of seems like a holiday. But anyways, so what is happening with housing? You were mentioning something about housing, and there are quite a few times in the chat there.
So let's talk housing, okay? So investors are made the most purchases in the property market July and August this year out of any buying group. So it's mostly investors.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, the median price is now $725,000, and that's from last month, October. That was up 20% from last year, and it's being scheduled it's being forecasted to be another 15% by next year.
So you're looking at almost $1 million bucks.
Yep. Yep. Also, 1 in 4 speculators are finding a way to dodge housing tax.
Oh, you mean if, you talking about the foreign investors that coming in?
Yeah, one
But
in
didn't
four.
Jacinta Ardern put in a law of no foreign investors anymore?
Yes, they did. They did. But it's too little, too late. Too little, too late. And one other thing, I'm just going to rapid fire here because we are in the front line in New Zealand. One other piece of news: the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, John Key, is now the chairman of ANZ New Zealand Bank.
Oh my God! It's like putting Hillary Clinton in charge of the Federal Reserve.
Yep. And remember what I said. Jacinda wins 210,000 New Zealand dollars from Harvard University. It's not a bribe. It's not a gift. It's an award.
210,000 New Zealand or American dollars?
New Zealand dollars.
Okay, that's like 80 cents. Okay,
But she did say that she wants to give that money as a scholarship for a student from New Zealand to attend the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. I'm guessing that will be our next Prime Minister. What do you reckon, Mike?
Well, maybe. Well, you're allowed 2 terms in New Zealand, right?
Oh, you're allowed as many. We have an MMP system, and so I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but Labor has about 52% share of that system. So anything that's meant to pass law, it's meant to go to the Parliament, and they have a vote. So 52% vote goes to Labor. But the problem is, so the second largest party, which is National, they're saying with all these new mandates now, it's not laws, there's no due process anymore. It doesn't really matter about the MMP system if you call it a mandate.
Oh,
it's not a law.
They're using language. They're twisting language.
That's why they're all mandates, not laws.
That is extremely dangerous when they start twisting language around to mean one thing but say another. I see you looking over your shoulder there. Are you people watching you, or?
I just don't want to spend 6 months in jail, Mike, with this transmission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 6 months. But it's in New Zealand though. It's not like you're in. Again, it's not like you're in some Russian, like Ukraine prison or something for 6 months.
I don't know, bro, but that's sounding pretty nice to me. What do you think?
Dude, I don't know what's happening on you're telling us what's happening there in New Zealand. And then now with the median house price looking like it's going to hit $1 million, I had that article up that was from 2 weeks ago, and I still brought it up again to announce it again this week because, so is New Zealand wholeheartedly, in your opinion, a nation of renters? Is it safe to say that New Zealand is a nation of renters now, or?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's all entitled. If you have a mortgage, you're still renting to the bank. The bank owns you. You don't own the house until you pay it. So it's all language. I mean, call a turd a turd, a glossy turd, a shiny turd. It's still a turd.
Let me ask you this. How many people do you think own free and clear in New Zealand? Like actually own, like old money, like people like free and clear, like non-foreign investors? I'm talking about like New Zealand proper. Like 18%, 25% own their own?
I wouldn't have those stats because I'm still relatively young, but I do know like people older than me, I mean, they got in good with housing. I mean, that's when it was, $250,000 for a house, and they've got it good. But the thing is, people don't realize that the housing system always need a fresh blood. It's kicking the can down the road, you see. So it's enticing fresh blood with low interest rates. But it's, you know what I mean?
It's very dangerous. Low interest rates are dangerous because if they have to adjust to inflation or they have to adjust to a market correction, if the rest of the world raises rates for some reason and New Zealand needs to follow suit in timely fashion, you will see if they don't, their currency is going to go to zero, and if they don't, so there's a lot at stake here with historically low interest rates for the time it's been this low. It's absolutely dangerous, and I just can't fathom how long we've had this Frankenstein that we've created now in the banking system that's free to roam and basically continuously being fed by printing money, buying bonds, buying back debt, buying back mortgage-backed securities, and we're doing everything to keep this Frankenstein from dying. And what do we do now? The monster's on the loose. They can't raise rates. Their backs to the wall. Are we going to see New Zealand go negative rates? I made a video a few months back saying that New Zealand will be the first country in the Commonwealth to go into negative interest rate territory.
I mean, that's the only direction I can think of as well. But you've mentioned this in the show as well. As soon as we get into negative interest rates, all that's going to do is encourage more borrowing. So there's no good picture here. But hey, so what do you reckon? 6 months in jail?
No, don't go to jail yet, because we still need you to do some observation there.
At least you won't have to pay property taxes there, though.
Yeah, well, that sounds okay. That sounds enticing.
I'm starting to weigh my options here, Mike. You know what I mean?
No, we need you to observe for us. For the Mike and the Night show, so you could go in and get some observation done on the ground there.
Well, all I'm saying, I'll leave it to another caller because I just wanted to do a rapid-fire news alert. But yeah, big things happening in New Zealand. We are in the front line, so if you want to see what's going to happen elsewhere, just look no further than down under.
Okay. Ralphie, if you don't mind doing a rapid-fire New Zealand update with like 5 main headlines every Mike and the Night show for Mike and the Night, especially when if it's housing, it's housing. You do housing.
Yeah.
Then if it's like Buddy goes to jail or looks like someone's on the moon, or do that for Mike and the Night, and I'd appreciate that if you don't mind.
We got to tease each show, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the main things regarding housing is just expect a 15% increase every year. That's it. Every year.
Okay, so people that own will be so wealthy on paper. It's phenomenal.
Well, it's like extending the credit card. That's all it is, guys. Your equity keeps going up, but it's like dangling a piece of carrot saying, spend more, spend more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just extending it's all it is extending your credit card limit. And who benefits from this Ponzi scheme? The tallest buildings in your city.
That's right.
John Key. John Key is doing good.
Yep, John Key. All right, Mr. Ralphie from New Zealand, thank you for filling us in. We'll be seeing you hopefully on Mike in the Night if you get some time, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Voice of the Commonwealth.
All right, God bless you.
Bye.
Thank you. So, guys, that is Ralphie out of New Zealand, keeping his eyes and ears on the ground. The voice of the Commonwealth.